Hello, I'm glad everybody's here today. I wasn't sure the weather was going to cooperate, but so far so good. So we'll get started in case it changes its mind, but thank you all for still coming out, even though it's a little windy, a little chilly. My name is Jill. I am the Executive Director of Turning Point Child Advocacy Center here in Galesburg. We cover Knox, Warren, and Henderson counties. So if any of you are available, we are also doing Hands Around the Courthouse in Warren and Henderson counties next week. I'm also the chairperson of the Blue Ribbon Task Force, and the Blue Ribbon Task Force also works with families and stuff in all three counties. We're a collaboration of groups that works to just promote awareness to child abuse and do what we can to bring awareness to it and educate people on what they can do to recognize the signs and what they can do to help. Included in that collaboration are many of us. Bridgeway, Bright Futures, CASA of West Central Illinois, the Center for Youth and Family Solutions, Family Planning Services and Initiative for Girls, Head Start, the Knox County Child Advocacy Center, Knox County Teen Court, OSF Resource Link, Safe Harbor Family Crisis Center, YMCA Early Learning Center, Knox County Health Department, the Department of Children and Family Services, Regional Office of Education, Victim Services, YES, which is Youth Empowerment Services, United Way, Birth to 5 Illinois, and probably more because I did not update this year. I know we've had representatives from the chamber come. So if anyone's here and I left you off the list, let me know. I'll add you for next year, and I apologize. So when we're talking about being out here and being able to help kids who are victims of child abuse, I wanted to just read a few of the statistics from our local area. Illinois Child Abuse Hotline has received over 177,000 calls so far this fiscal year. The investigations stemming from these calls have involved 92,048 kids. Of those kids, there were findings indicating presence of abuse for over 20,000 kids in Illinois. As of February 28th, there are 248 kids in foster care placements in Knox, Warren, and Henderson counties. So far this fiscal year, we've had 117 kids referred to our Child Advocacy Center for interviews, counseling, and other services. CASA of West Central Illinois is currently serving 131 kids in their 4-county service area. So they cover Knox, Warren, Henderson, and I think Mercer County as well. So as you can see, even though a lot of people say, we have really small towns and it's great here, it really is. But there are still things that happen in these small towns, and kids are still facing instances of abuse, and they need to have that be recognized, and they need to get that support. So that's why we're here today. To talk to us a little bit more about that is Brecken. Brecken is from Victim Services, and she is their prevention educator for Victim Services. And I'm going to have her come up, and she'll just talk to you a little bit about child abuse and what she does. Brecken?
Good morning. My name is Brecken, and I'm the preventionist at WIRC. April is recognized as Child Abuse Prevention Month, a time where people of the community come together to fight against the epidemic of child abuse. As part of April being Child Abuse Prevention Month, I would like to speak to you about child abuse, and as I do, I challenge you to think of ways that we, as a community, can change and combat this issue. Child abuse is defined as any recent act or failure to act on the part of a parent or caretaker which results in death, serious physical or emotional harm, sexual abuse or exploitation, or an act of failure to act which presents an imminent risk of serious harm. More than 4 children die each day of child abuse. Approximately 70% of children that die from abuse are under the age of 4. 1 in 15 children are exposed to intimate partner violence each year. Nearly 400 million children under the age of 5 experience psychological aggression or extreme physical punishment at home. A child who is abused may feel guilty, ashamed, or confused. The child may be afraid to tell anyone about the abuse, especially if the abuser is a parent, other relative, or family friend. That's why it's vital to watch out for red flags, such as withdrawal from friends and activities, changes in behavior and school performance, maybe depression and anxiety, sleep problems and nightmares, frequent absences, self-harm or attempts of suicide. Child health experts condemn the use of violence in any form, but some people still use physical punishments, such as spanking, to discipline their children. While parents and caregivers often use physical punishment with the intention of helping their children or making their behavior better, research shows that spanking is linked with worse, not better, behavior. It's also linked to mental health problems, difficult relationship with parents, and lower self-esteem and lower academic performance. Any physical punishment may leave emotional scars. Parental behaviors that cause pain, physical injury, or emotional trauma, even when done in the name of discipline, could be considered child abuse. You can take important steps to protect your child from exploitation and child abuse, as well as prevent child abuse in your neighborhood or community. The goal is to provide safe, stable, and nurturing relationships for children. We can do this in many different ways. We can offer love and support and attention. We don't respond in anger. Think of supervision. Emphasize when to say no. And teach your child about online safety. Child abuse and neglect causes trauma, which can impair brain development and is linked to physical, emotional, and behavioral issues later in life. Understanding the symptoms and risk factors for child maltreatment can help child welfare professionals and others identify and build on family strengths and natural supports to prevent and mitigate maltreatment in children, keeping children safe. And that is all for me.
All right, thank you, Brecken. Next, we have Rhonda Hillier. She's with the Regional Office of Education, and she's going to read the story that started the use of the blue ribbon to bring awareness to child abuse.
Bonnie Finney, a grandmother from Virginia, connected the blue bow to child abuse prevention awareness in the aftermath of her grandson, Michael Wayne Bubba Dickinson's death as a result from child abuse in Chesapeake, Virginia in 1998. Her daughter, herself a victim of domestic violence, was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for failing to do more to protect her son. Luther Ray Phillips Jr., who committed the crime, was sentenced to 55 years imprisonment. Bonnie Finley wrote the following story in conjunction with Child Abuse Virginia. It is used by permission of Child Abuse Virginia. I only had one child. She was a beautiful little girl, the light of our eyes. We knew she had entered into a stormy marriage, for we brought her home several times in the 5 years it lasted. We suspected heavy use of drugs, but in those 5 years, 3 beautiful, healthy children were born. I loved them dearly, and they loved me. The children were 16 months, 3 years, and 4 years. My grandson was hospitalized for abuse. He had bruises on his body and cigarette burns on his hands. The doctors did not believe my daughter's story. He fell in the slippery bathtub. After the ordeal at the hospital, my grandson was placed in foster care for 3 weeks. He cried when they tried to return him to his mother. He told his foster mother, "Mama don't love me," and begged to stay. I ached for his dilemma, but I wasn't physically able to care for him. The courts believed that the home was the best place for him, but I knew better, and I begged them not to return him to his mother. But I was overruled. A grandmother's instincts didn't count. I never saw Bubba again. My 16-month-old granddaughter was hospitalized after being beaten severely, her leg broken in 4 places, and her hand burned from the tips of her fingers to her wrist. It was only then that the search was on for Bubba. We learned he had been killed, wrapped in a sheet, stuffed in a toolbox, and dumped into the dismal swamp canal 3 months earlier. My efforts to understand a plea to stop abusing children. I tied a blue ribbon on the van antenna to make people wonder. It caught on locally with restaurants, businesses, police, TV, and radio stations. They started supporting me in my efforts to make a real awareness campaign. Bonnie asks, please wear a blue ribbon. Put it on your car. Give one to your friend. Tell them what it means. You may save a child's life. If you suspect anything is happening to your children, your grandchildren, a child next door, please act. If you get no response, try again. You may not hear their screams. You may not see their bruises. So check for the hidden pain and watch for the silent scream in their eyes. At this time, we'd like to take a moment to recognize the innocent that have been taken for child abuse. Okay. So at this time, we're going to take a stand against child abuse and raise awareness and stand for prevention. Please gather around the courthouse. We do have ribbon to be able to stretch all the way around. So if the main goal is to get all the way around and to stretch as far around as we can. And so if you would like to move to do that now, we would appreciate that. Thank you.